Right. Hello, everybody. My screen here is a little bit off. There we go. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another amazing week of Demo Day with Splat. My name is Brett, and am working on a grid trading strategy this week and last week. And just yesterday, or I guess overnight, it was a little bit exciting. Lots of action. Crypto market picked up a little bit. So I have many hits on this grid trading strategy. Figure out which. Here we go. Boom. So what I wanted to talk about was how this strategy is doing, but also I'm having issues with the Odroid C4 boards that are running it that are kind of like Raspberry Pis, but a different brand called Odroid. I think I've mentioned these before. Hard kernel Odroid, I can't remember the kernel.com. So I have these C4s, which hopefully you can see this. Get down to the hardware here. So they have 4 gigs of RAM. They have 4, I think it's 4 cores with this Amlogic S905X3 processor. And according to their benchmarks, it performs a little bit better than the Raspberry Pi 4. So this orange bar is what we're looking at. Slightly better on the Unix Bench Drystone. Slightly worse, even though the graph kind of makes it look about the same, on the Double Precision Whetstone. A little bit worse on 7-zip, and better on the MBW. I don't know what the MBW benchmark is. Graphics GPU benchmark does a little bit better. Oh, memory benchmark MBW, so it does a little bit better. And there's supposed to be a way that you can overclock them, although I have not really played around with that yet. But anyway, I guess CPU frequency by default is a little bit better than 2000 megahertz. Ethernet benchmark. I'm looking at the green bar here. So I have Odroid C2s also, and they all seem to be doing about the same. IO zone. The C4 is much better than the C2. C2 boards are definitely very slow, which are akin to the Raspberry Pi 3. And it uses an eMMC, which is a much better storage platform than an SD card, what the Raspberry Pi is traditionally used. The eMMC is what's the word for? It doesn't break down as easily. What's the word I'm looking for? Totally blanking. But anyway, so I have these Raspberry Pi, essentially Raspberry Pi 4 boards running the Odroid C4 boards. They're very good low-powered servers, but they're also very low-powered servers, and so they don't necessarily perform as well as a regular computer server. And I've been having issues with trading bots, dying and not coming back. and spent a little bit of time this morning trying to figure it out and see what was going on. I don't think there's anything else that's really interesting to look at on here. But anyway, I may spend some more time trying to figure out, or at least I guess highlight where to go to troubleshoot if you are looking at something similar. Another thing I wanted to show off is my, where I'm posting some stats from my bot. If you want to follow along, these are, I don't know, I play around with the format every once in a while, and you basically have to do it live because some of these, I think I mentioned last time, I was having trouble getting some of these values to come out properly. And yeah, they all seem to be working pretty well right now, at least in terms of the announcement and formatting. But you can see all of these hits of buying and close stages to sell. I'm doing typically ADA and Doge, but I do have 1 or 2 ETH and BTC processes running. And yeah, got a lot of action over the last couple of days. And this is going actually back to March 4th. But yeah, it's been running for over a week now, and it's been doing pretty decently. So yeah, a grid trading bot is definitely viable in Superalgos. So let's hop on to one of the nodes. Oh, before we begin, I want to do my beer introduction. Getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. This week I'm drinking another Le Cabre Brewing beer called 16 Chapel. And you may think I said Sistine Chapel, but I did not. Pretty cool label. It is a New England IPA, hopped with Citra, Galaxy, Idaho 7, and Enigma hops. And it's 6.5% alcohol. And this one's really good. It's a pretty traditional New England IPA, and just straight up tasty. So, cheers. Yeah. Very hoppy, very hop forward. So what was I gonna do? I was gonna hop on to my first node here. Give a little bit of an update. I'll draw this a little bit bigger for you all too. Take a look. What's going on? All right. So again, if you haven't seen the other episodes where I talk about this, what I ended up doing is essentially creating one strategy, one trading system, and copying it 10 times. Oops. And the parts that are different, I'll go up to the top one here. So, cancel. The open stage, I wait for the, if I can make, a little bit better. Wait for the candle maximum to be higher than the EMA 200 times 1.0 in this example. So just, 100% this exact value. And that is to make sure that we are placing the buy at of the value that we actually want, and that the exchange doesn't go ahead and just place our order at whatever the market rate is at the moment. Because usually if you fat finger a value or something and you end up placing your buy, let's say, let's take Dogecoin for example. It's at 12 cents ish, and you say, oh, I want to buy, you normally want to buy below the 12 cents. So you say like, I don't know, 11.11, and by accident you type 1.1. You wouldn't wait to actually buy at $1.10. It would, a regular exchange will essentially take that, assume that you made a mistake, and essentially trade you at market value. So it would trade it at 12 cents. But when you, for you to open your limit buy and have it actually sit and wait properly, you need to make sure that the market candles are trading above your level. Just to give the, explain it like I'm 5, because that's how I understand it as a 5-year-old myself. And then, yeah, so these 1.0 values that you see here, these are what I change in between each of the different trading systems. So in my back testing, I found that 2% spread in between all of the different levels is one of the main things that I hate about around in this UI. If you click and drag too quickly, sometimes it doesn't register properly, and then I also hate how moving my mouse around will just randomly make things bigger when I don't want them to. What else? I guess just briefly, stop loss. I ended up having to modify this a little bit to get it to work properly. I had to make sure that my open stage was filled and closed, and then I essentially immediately move on to the closed stage by just taking the end rate value, and generally that'll just trigger immediately and in the managed stop loss. And then I had to also modify, oh, I made this a little bit different. I had to modify these values for the initial targets to get them to evaluate properly as well, because it seems like some of the code not up to date properly, or trying to read in a value before it was updated in the system itself properly. So using these trading current candle close values works out a little bit better. And we don't really need to worry about the initial targets because we're placing limit sell orders. So we do have this order rate. And you can see here, I'm going 2% above, essentially, approximately 2% above what my purchase rate was. My purchase rate, if you remember, buy rate was credit 1 hours, EMA 200 times 1.0 or 100%. This one's 102. And that's how it works. And then I'm not really using these user-defined code, the user-defined variables, but they're there in case I need them. Then I have my handy-dandy announcement formulas. This one was really interesting. I ran into a bug where if I did not put this if true, then this formula would break, and it would, the Superalgos system would say that my announcement was incorrect and broken, essentially. But throwing in this if true is probably because I'm using let and defining variables up top here. But yeah, had to throw in a blank if statement to get this to properly parse and work functionally. So that's that. So we got 10 of those created because I was originally going to run 10 of them at a time. Um, I had some of them, so you can see, because I have one in a bad space right now, where you get these yellow rings around the task to show that it is functioning and giving feedback. And I have 5 running under the main task manager. And then when they're actually getting updates, you'll see the trading live session will be sleeping and you'll get some yellow text. And then here on the low frequency trading process, you'll get some updates about where it is in the process, what it's waiting for. And then you'll have one every once in a while like this, where it seems to not quite update. It says request sent, was running earlier, but something is disconnected. And I haven't figured out exactly when that happened yet. But you can see all the rest of these are in there. And another symptom, oh, you'll see on these graphs that the limit buy orders will just disappear. So it placed 2 and then it stopped. And it's not getting any updates anymore. But here you have these that have done buys and sells, or they're in the process looking for a sell. But yeah, that's basically it. So now you can see that stuff is happening, things get bought and sold, and you can see your updates. I think I talked about how I got all these layers onto the same chart before. What am I missing? Masters. That was complaining about. But anyway, so what I ended up doing, excuse me, tired, is bringing these simulation, hitting the clone tool, on the different, that's under testing, um, hitting the clone tool on the individual charts, which downloads them, and then dragging them back in to make copies and attaching them to this grid trading 1 chart. Now I've got all of them. All of them on 1 chart. Next thing I want to figure out, but I haven't really begun to explore. Oops. Is I want to figure out how to get these simulation objects from that show up right now in the 1 minute, but you can see if I zoom out to the 2, or if I want to, track at the 1 hour. I don't have my limit orders displayed here, which would be really neat to be able to see them on all the layers. I'm sure there's probably, whoops. Sure there's probably a way to do it. I haven't researched it yet. But that's the next thing I'd like to figure out in terms of the charting space and display the data. Excuse me. So anyway, now that we can see that I'm in a state where I need to troubleshoot this, so our trading bot number 7 appears to be running properly, but is getting no updates. Change over to our putty window, and let's bump up our font size because I never save this. That pretty good. All right, so on this server, I'm running a Docker image, and I have my Docker Compose file and some data. So if I do, this is my shorthand, Docker Compose logs -f, and then tail 50 says only show me the last 50 lines. And you can see, excuse me, doesn't show you exactly which bot, but you can see the instance, the loop numbers, and so you can get a rough idea of what's happening by looking at these. Hit enter a little bit, you'll get some space in between the old logs and the new ones that are about to come in. So we should have 5 running. Let's see, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yep, should have 5, and we just had 4 pop through here to show their update status. So we are definitely missing 1. The next place we can look is my log files. You can see I have my full path here already. Trading, live trading, grid trading, strategy number 7. And you can see we get these folders with updates in them. And this one was last updated at 2237, which is 1037, which that are Thursday. Oh yeah, I guess it is UTC. All right, so I'm still set at UTC. I didn't realize I had that set to UTC. So anyway, go into this folder. You see we have a bunch of loop.json logs. Do cat JSON and pipe it through less. We can scroll through, and you can see you get a whole bunch of log lines about what the... Oh, I forgot to give that update. What I just realized that I didn't mention that I ended up offloading the data task to one of my older Odroid C2 nodes. So the C4, the stronger of the hardware, is running only trading tasks and data storage. No, sorry. Only data storage for the trading tasks. And then the slower Odroid C2 is doing the actual handle data and indicator data processing. Works out pretty well. Haven't had any issues with the data mining. And what brought that to my attention that I forgot to mention it is you can see I have logs saying here, I'm collecting data from my remote host, the other network node. Let's look through here. See if anything stands out. Data building. What does that mean? And what all these log messages mean. Maybe in time I will. So there we got our text file. Run simulation, processing. Anyway, go all the way down the bottom. All right, so we updated. Oh, what was the current time? Oh, we are on to Thursday. Wrote our file out, and I guess it just died. Execution finished well. Creating mine. Hmm, that's interesting. Val formulas, stop loss. Easy. Yeah, so I don't have enough money in my account. Does that do it? No, because I have other ones that came through browser. So you can see that sometimes I have these gaps in between here, and that happens when I don't have enough money in my account. And so it's trying to place these orders, but it can't. And then I don't think that's what actually kills these processes, because you can see it happens quite frequently just because I don't have enough money to make all these trades that I'm trying to stand up. Um, anyway, I mean, that's the last error message. Then we don't have anything saying, excuse me, any actual error output. And then the training system stores all this data. That reminds me, one of my things on my to-do list is to make a pluggable storage system so that you can change over to Redis or MongoDB or something else instead of using flat files, because I think some of these flat files get a little bit too large, use up all the memory, and are just a pain in the butt to work with when they're flat files. So yeah, everything looks like it ran okay. Saved out all the information and just stopped. It again. That was 4 hours ago. Yeah. $15 and dead. So these are on 327, 328, 29. Hmm. So, that's kind of it. Um, Next thing I would look at is, and I can describe that I used to run these without any swap at all. And I finally put a 2 gig swap partition in. You can see it's not using any. And you can see over here in our tree view that we do have test servers still running. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But for some reason, it's not updating that process. Number 7. Oh, is that what that? No, not it. Hmm. So yeah, you can see, I don't know. That's where I am with the troubleshooting right now. Thought it might have been a memory issue, swap issue. I definitely ran into memory issue on one of the C2 nodes when I was trying to get the data mining moved over. That's kind of what prompted me adding swap to everything. But yeah, let me see this. Oh, new session. Share this in 1 second. Get it set up here. Settings. One. So, if you look at this one, it only has 2 gigs of RAM, and it's already using up some swap. It's sorted by memory usage right now. By CPU usage, you can see every minute as servers ramp up to run handle data. Go back into sleep mode, sit there, waiting for the next iteration. That's it. So yeah, memory doesn't necessarily seem to be the issue anymore. So the next thing I was thinking is the CPU issue, which back to instance. So you can see, so we'll sit here for another minute. You can see when we get to the top of the minute and the data tasks kick off, and then you gets bombarded. Excuse me. Trying to calculate all the indicator data. I don't know why. Everything looks like it's working fine from what I can see so far. There we go. And it's pretty quick. I mean, this is refreshing every 2 seconds, I think. Every 1 second. No? Yeah, it's about 2. So we get like 2 to 4 seconds of 100% CPU, and then it drops down. And I don't know. I mean, everything that I would normally think about is contention. But I don't know why tasks would just stop altogether. I don't know. I might have to do more research into Node.js and exactly how it works, how these processes and forks work. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything else right now to look into. Um, I don't know. Let's see if I grep. Oh, Nothing. Yeah, that's annoying. Think of. I don't know. All right, that's all I got now. So for me, right now, what I would do, get this back working again, functioning. I think it's this one here. I would stop it. Oh, it takes about a minute. Excuse me. Gonna go ahead and, well, I'll save the workspace first. Wait for that green message to say saved, and I'll refresh. All right, and we're back. So 7 is down. Wait for everything to sync up. All right, so roll. Get that web test start. We have the yellow rings come in. Excuse me. Add to start. And now we're back running. here. The old session is gone now. About a minute or less, we should do buy order. And that reminds me, probably over finance. All running in Binance. Then I need to clean up any old orders manually. That's weird. It looks like it reset like everything. Oh, there they go. So yeah, I wasn't sure if it was just a networking issue where the weren't updating properly, graphs, the charts, or if I don't know if there was something else going on. But there are definitely times when these low power boards trouble sending all the data over, and I've had charts that just keep coming up blank no matter how often I refresh. That doesn't necessarily seem like what's going on. I don't know. Let's see here. I don't have any. But remember, we're kind of driving this off of the 1 hour 200. And then we're essentially dropping down from there, going 2% each time. So 98, 96, 94, 92, 0. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So now we're okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of out of ideas right now. What might be going on? Contention, CPU and memory contention are always the number one. I guess with all of these running, it's potential that potentially the response timed out on one of the actions, and that just kind of made everything haywire. Hmm. But nothing. So I did start out running all 10, and then I said, all right, let's. Oh, I guess I'm not running number 5 right now. So I said, let's not run 4 of these. Let's just run 5. Sorry, 6. See what happens. And I was still having things drop out and die. So earlier today, I stopped number 5. And I just went with 10 through 6. Excuse me, or 6 through 10. And as you saw, there was still one that died. So 5 is no good. So maybe I'll have to do 4. And then if I'm relegated to only doing 4, I may want to change my 2% gap in between them to try and spread everything out a little bit more. But I definitely found in my back testing that especially with this, once you get directly to the 200 EMA or above, so if I started, this is my 1.0, placing my buy order exactly at what the value of the EMA 200 is. Once you start going above that, you, especially in this down market, so if we zoom back out here, you can kind of see what I'm looking at. So in the 1 hour is the driver, and I did back test all the way back to, it was December 1st is where I started. And this doesn't have all of that data, obviously, but all of these, you know, in a 24-hour candle chart, all of this is still going down. And so once you start, I found that once I started going above 2%, the likelihood of me buying at, for an example, the top of this peak here is much higher. And then I would place my buy order 3%, I mean, my sell order 3% up, and it would just wait for forever because we have not fully recovered back to where everything was. I guess it was like last May. I think everything's been down since May. And then you get these little peaks. And I found that catching these little peaks works a lot better when you're using 2% as the spread instead of 3. And one of the key things I've heard, good to keep in mind, is do not be greedy. Let the algorithm do its thing and don't try to over optimize or overfit one particular piece of data. So I don't know. I feel like the 3% or more, 4, 5, 10%, getting a little too greedy. You end up getting purchases that don't actually recoup their money. I don't know. What else is there to talk about? I guess there's a couple of housekeeping things. And I was looking at the Medium blog earlier to see if it had been updated. Doesn't look like it. So usually there's a monthly report that comes out talking about the distribution. So like January 2020 report. Could be one for February coming up. Because the February process date already passed. SCScan.com. Look for Superalgos. There it is. When was it? I guess it was yesterday. Yeah. Transfer. I think these are them. These are all the payments. So you can see exactly who got what if you know what their address is. But anyway, usually there's a summary that gets published talking about how many people were a part of the distribution, how many tokens in total were distributed, some other thing. Um, yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to talk about. That's what I got going on. I'm gonna take some more time. Probably will take several weeks to figure out what's going on with these trading bot instances, why they keep dying. I'm kind of at a loss. If I can't see a log, it's really hard to capture something point in time. There are tools out there like APM, application performance monitoring, that will kind of instrument your code and see what's going on and have it report back. Open telemetry is one part of that. But that's kind of hard to just kind of kick off for like a one-off type of thing. But that, I feel like that might be the one way to actually figure out what's going on, why the random processes just stop and look like they're still running but aren't actually running. Yeah, I don't know. Gonna have to think about that long and hard. Try and come up with a strategy for debugging this thing. But anyway, I think that's it for me for the night. Can't think of anything else. Didn't get to any coding this week. Just didn't have time for it. So the decentralized exchange stuff still kind of sitting dormant, unfortunately. Hopefully I'll be able to get in. I did see that PancakeSwap built in limit orders. Let's see, is this their blog? No. But you can place a limit order now. Excuse me. So that'll be neat to play around with and get that working. So you can do your market order or a limit order. Oh yeah, and they added in, if you're working on the website here, they were supposed to put in trading view charts. Thought there was a way to swap that. Well, anyway, yeah. Decentralized exchanges need some work. Hopefully I'll be able to get to that soon. And I'm out of beer. And I'm out of things to talk about. So, if I have any breakthroughs troubleshooting this stuff, I will definitely post an update. If I get any updates on decentralized exchanges, definitely post an update. Otherwise, feel free stop by the Telegram channels, official Telegram, Superalgos. Ask me questions. I'll be in there. I generally hang out in there. Discord. I prefer Discord, but it's mostly dead. Definitely needs some more people in there chatting and asking for help and I don't know, just generally discussing Superalgos. Other than that, Reddit, trying to get the Reddit community up and running and lively, but pretty much just me right now. Feel free to join me. Questions there. And check out Twitter. Superalgos has Facebook communities. The Medium website for blog posts. A lot of really good information up here. The data mining stuff is out of this world. Thomas does a really good job, and I wish I understood more of it. But for all of you out there, definitely check it out. I don't know. That's it. Go to GitHub, download the code, get it running. Let me know if you have any issues. See if I can help. That's it for me. See you next week. Go on the flippy floppy.